discuss in this video the UK Online Safety Act, the new act enacted by the British government to keep our children safe. Now, Britain aims to protect children online, like many governments. Unfortunately, this act seems to be having the opposite effect, and I'll explain why, and it's related to the fact that it can be bypassed very easily using something called a VPN. Now, just to set some background, the UK's Online Safety Act requires websites with any sort of violent adult content to implement strict age verification measures. So you go to the site and you won't be able to just say, yes, I'm over 18. You have to prove it. The methods used in a variety of lots of adult sites have to do it in the UK, using things like micropayments on credit card or supplying your passport or driving license, stuff like that. Some even using AI to assess your age through your video camera. So the goal is to shield children from harmful material, but the rollout's been problematic simply because there's such an easy way to bypass it, and lots of Brits are just turning to VPNs to bypass the restrictions. There are downloads of a popular VPN that I haven't used called Proton VPN. I've heard it's quite good. Have surged by 1,800% just in the few days after the rules took effect, which I think you'll agree is a staggering amount. This Online Safety Act has lots of global implications and it's causing a lot of transatlantic tensions as well. The problem is the global issues is the internet is global. It's not owned by the UK. It's not policed by the UK. The UK has virtually no more control than any other government over the internet, which I think is a good thing. And that means that any laws are just simply not enforceable. Most of the sites, if they're outside the UK, will just ignore the legislation. Lots of other sites outside the UK, if they want to stay in the good books or something like that, or avoid the hassle, are just blocking UK users. I'll show you an example of also using the VPN and some of the sites that are doing this. And lots of these sites that are just blocking access to UK users are genuinely useful sites. They haven't got any harmful content, but they're often they allow user content on them, so it takes a lot of moderation to ensure you stay within these rules. The US are strictly against it. Lots of the US tech companies and policymakers strongly object to the UK laws' extraterritorial reach. They even sent a bipartisan delegation to warn against exporting speech codes that undermine America's First Amendment. I don't think anybody would care that much about it, but it could have a lot of commercial sort of GDP implications. At the moment, the UK's been able to do their new trade deals without changing on these online safety rules, which they say are not up for negotiation, but we'll see in the future. There are steep penalties of these laws, which obviously are difficult to implement on non-UK companies, but lots of companies have financial bases in the UK as well. So non-compliance carries risks of up to 18 million or 10% of global turnover. Smaller UK sites just shut down. They can't be bothered with the risk or the pressure from these sites, and there's very little guidance on how to implement the age verification as well. Okay, my main issue in this video is the unintended consequences, and one of the big problems I and many other people have with this law. My main issue is privacy and the impact it has on privacy for all of us. But the second one is it doesn't work because there's such an easy way to bypass it. We are sending minors and young people tunneling through VPNs. Yes, they know all about them. They've been using them for years. My children have been using VPNs for accessing Minecraft servers and all sorts of stuff. Hopefully not anything harmful or adult, but who knows? But they have been using these VPNs. They're part of they're growing up, if you like. They're well aware of them. And the UK law is just driving more and more people to use them. They're very easy to use. I'll show you in a minute how easy they are to use. And you can see how inconsequential it is to bypass the whole of this law. Another issue is that although VPN services are extremely cheap, if you look below, I've got a discount link to the one I use called NordVPN, which again I'll show you in a minute in the description below. They're very inexpensive, but obviously younger people don't have access to funds and cards and stuff to do these, so they've been using free VPN services, which ironically are usually financed by selling users' data, which are ironically often gambling and porn and similar sites like that. So miners are getting the capacity to serve without any restriction, bypassing the Online Safety Act and the age verification with deadly ease, and they're using dangerous free VPN services that are actually putting their data at risk. Okay, VPNs, I don't know, so it stands for Virtual Private Network. I'm not sure if you're aware of them. I've been using them for a couple of decades almost, really. Basically because they can change your location, hide your location, and I use them to watch things like BBC iPlayer when I'm on holiday or travelling and stuff like that. UK TV is geo-blocked outside the UK, but if you use a VPN you can just watch it wherever you like. But now people are using it to pretend they're not in the UK. So that if you go and connect to a French VPN server, for instance, you can bypass all the restrictions. I'll show you now very quickly. VPNs offer legitimate privacy benefits, but they're increasingly used by young people to do this. Okay, let's just show you what happens at the moment with a couple of sites. Now, I can't show you any adult sites on here because YouTube just blocks my videos and stuff like that. But here's just like a simple, there's nothing on this site at all. It's a knitting pattern and bead pattern site. And you can see it blocks access straight away there. Let me show you another one. Now, if you go to an adult site, you'll just get an age verification thing, which you can bypass. But as I say, I can't show you that. This is the sort of thing you get as well. Access restricted for UK visitors. This website is an AI arts thing. Now, let me just show you how this works with a VPN. So I'll start my VPN program here. As I say, I use NordVPN. This is probably the world's biggest VPN server, and I use it because it's big, effective, and it's cheap, especially if you use my discount link below. So let's click here. This is the extension that goes in the browser. There's a full program as well if you want access to all the other hundreds of countries. But I'm just going to connect to a French VPN server now, and then we'll go back and refresh this page. So I'm now connected to France. Okay, so I've got a French IP address. Let me go back to my infamous knitting pattern or whatever it is and refresh the page. This time I can go in. The Online Safety Act is bypassed, effectively, really, because it thinks I'm not in the UK, thinks I'm in France, so it doesn't apply. And I can download all those dangerous bead patterns there. And now I can go to the AI site. This is AI art, it is, that people can download. And they haven't got the ability to control everything that's updated there. So there'll probably be a few raunchy pictures or something like that. So they've obviously thought they could be affected by the Online Safety Act, and they've just blocked people. But there you go. French IP address, French VPN, one click, I bypassed it all. And that's it. That's what's happening. There are better approaches to do this online safety. The unfettered access of minors to harmful content is a serious issue, and we all don't want our children watching harmful videos and adult material online. But this blanket age verification is a huge impact on our personal freedom and privacy, and it doesn't work. It's tied to a real-world identity. It's a crude instrument with harmful side effects. What they should be doing is looking at things like limits all these addictive features. A lot of the adult content that children visit are through social media sites anyway, and limit these addictive features, right? Autoplay and infinite scroll, where young users just get mesmerized and drawn into all sorts of content without them really realizing. Let's make the algorithm more transparent. We have all seen how you can get directed towards certain sites and stuff like that from clicking out of curiosity or anything like that. Let's make the recommendation systems more transparent and less exploitative too. And biggest in my thing is in 2013, there were filters allowed, introduced to ISPs. We haven't really developed them, but they're parental filters that you can put on all internet access in home and on individual devices like phones and tablets and stuff like that, that allow people to restrict access on their devices to adult content. Now, these could be developed, but they're just basically a parental filter. Funny enough, hardly anybody used them when they came out. My kids were too old when that happened, really. But not many people implemented. Something like 18, 19, 20% of people with children actually use these parental filters. There's a much better doing it. Let's apply the censorship to the people that it should apply to. There's a counterintuitive truth here. The more you try to lock down the internet, the more determined, inventive minors and young people will get. And they'll go to much worse places. All the people who follow the rules is not the problem. All the websites, the adult websites that just ignore the rules are still out there. And they do not put the age verification on there anyway. Because they're based in places like Pakistan, Russia, and the Far East, and they don't care about the UK online safety law. Okay, anyway, I'll stop my rant there, and hope you've enjoyed the video. Interested to hear any comments you've got there, and thank you for watching. Bye for now.